you can take the next one down the list there. VA3 RCA, VA3 MFO, we'll be riding along.
Okay, very good, Jim. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is the 3640 net, and the topic tonight is HF antennas. What do you got? What are you planning? What do you think about HF antennas? Next on my list is VA3CPY. Hey, good evening there. How you doing tonight, Charles?
Not too bad. As far as antennas go, our next project is somewhere between California and here in the great hands of Canada.
And while I was putting W6LVP into a search engine, okay, I see that it's a receive antenna, and yeah, you know, I've got unfinished business along those lines as well. I should be working on receive antennas. Very good. I don't know if you're aware, Charles, but apparently some of the aluminum type antennas are getting very, very difficult to get. I decided the other day I wanted to try and get a rotatable dipole for 40 meters, and I started digging around, and you know, nobody's got them. They're out of stock, and Cushcraft MSJ is saying next spring sometime before they'll have them in stock.
She finds it doesn't worth a darn above that, so this next one is going to be an experiment to try and cover more of the bands. Anyway, I can barely hear you, Kevin, so I think I'll bow out at this point, and good to talk to you. This is VA3CPY out.
Okay, very good. I'm surprised you can barely hear me, Charles. Were you able to hear the V01 VOC station out in Newfoundland?
Negatory. I heard them once one transmission's worth only. VA3CPY.
Yeah, very good. Okay, I had him pretty clearly on one transmission, and then I had to rely on Steve, Kilo 1 Golf Mike to bring in the rest. It just wasn't quite making it, but I was amazed to hear him at all. Okay, thanks for joining us tonight, and I hope that Karen makes out well with the W6LVP antenna. I'm looking forward to hearing. Okay, sounds good, Charles. Good to hear you tonight. VA3CPY, this is VA3RCA. And next on my list, I have Victor Echo 3, Delta Juliet Hotel. Come on in, Dennis.
Yeah, very fine there, Kevin. I've pretty long quite a few. I'm impressed with Larry's with those two vertical, I guess they're inverted V's that he had on 80 meters. I had an Alpha Delta 80 to 10 meter antenna in the southeast, northwest, northeast, southwest. And then I had Bazooka 40 meters on that would aim north-south. And I found out that I had a bit of an interaction. I mean, my property is only 100 feet by 30 feet, so it creates a bit of a problem. But I suddenly realized that all I got to do is just put the antennas on an antenna switch and make sure that the antenna switch grounds the antennas when they're being idle. Oh wow, that makes a big difference. So I tuned the antennas, but there's only one problem. In one direction, I was getting a lot of noise. On the other direction, it was not so bad. So when they say that a bazooka antenna is supposed to be quieter, it all depends on which direction you're going. If you want to do that kind of work, that's great. So after that's all said and done, that's when I looked at this magnetic loop. Now the VO1 DCO station, I could not hear it, but here's the point. The magnetic loop is directional. It is has a side ejection of about 20 dB. There's about 10 dB front to back ratio with the string. And then when you turn around and rotate it, right now it's rotated for you, it's south-southwest. And you're got a beautiful signal here into North Bay. If I wanted to talk to the VO1 station, if I could pick him up, I would have to aim it towards the northeast. Somewhere there, but to be able to copy Newfoundland from my direction. So all in all, a magnetic loop is great. I can go anywhere I want on 80, 40, and 20 meters, and then anything in between. Ask the automatic tuner to just follow the Kenwood, and it tells me that, oh, I got to tune the antenna. I hit the enter key on the small keypad, and it tunes it up. And it works just fine. 20 meters, the FWR a little bit on the high side, but that's because it's too close to my metal chest. It is very sensitive to that, and it works fine. Great copy on you. But somewhere along the way, you have to be careful with it. And the field around it is pretty high. And this thing here is a commercial unit. I just put it up and play with it until I finally realized that you can't have 80 and 40 meter antennas too close to it. It just does not tune whatsoever. So I had to take everything down and just run this thing by itself. My end result will be that I will have a 45-foot, 48-foot tower with a Mosley Pro 57B, and then a 6-meter clip trap up above that, 2-meter clip trap up above that. But the Pro 57 is my 20 to 10 meter antenna for HF. That's my next goal. If I took down the magnetic loop, I would try to go back to a 40 and a 80 meter antenna. But somewhere along the way, I will try 40 meter delta loop. I think I can do it if it's far enough away from the magnetic loop. It should work. But I want it for DX work on 40, so I'd have to tune it off the corner. With that in mind, everything is working fine, but the magnetic loop is highly directional and makes a big difference. And it also helps tune the noise down. If I get that, there's a certain direction where the RFI starts climbing, and if I tune it away, if I get enough signal, it just gets rid of the noise altogether. So that works also. So there's a lot of properties with the magnetic loop that it makes things really work well.
Yeah, V3DJH from VA3RCA. You have one of the better signals I've ever heard with a magnetic loop, so it's really working especially well for you. I'd like to see how your signal's doing to some other stations. November 8th, Delta Hotel Victor. Larry, are you still there?
Yeah, sure am. I had to stick around when you found out the topic was antennas. I was in the living room. I have to look on the meter.
Okay, very good. Wow, 20 over 9 from you. I'm just wondering what your signal's like. Could you give Dennis a signal report?
Yeah, I was in the living room. I couldn't see it, but yeah, I got the 230 on now.
Okay, very fine. This is the magnetic loop. It's pointed about southwest, so it's basically it's aimed at your direction there now, and you're coming in at about S9 right now.
Yeah, you're right at the noise level, 15 over 9. So I'm surprised too for a loop.
That's good. I'm running a Kenwood with 200 watts, so it's the limits of this antenna is 300, but running at 200 seems to be quite happy.
Yeah, it's working. I'm really surprised. NADHV. Okay.
Over to you, Kevin.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for giving Dennis a signal report there, Larry. Was there another station jumping in there? I heard Kevin.
Yeah, I got the mail, and I forgot it was Sunday, and I went out and checked the mail, and my brand new logbook came today, so you're the first one in it.
Oh, fantastic. Sorry, who is that? I lost track there. Who is that? Got the brand new logbook?
That's Larry in Toledo.
Okay, fantastic. Hey, I'm glad to make the first entry in your logbook. That's really cool, Larry.
Yeah, I didn't get an ARRL one. They're too confusing. I got one. It's, what's it called here? Amateur Radio Station Logbook. Got it on Amazon.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know those were still around. I remember the ones from the ARRL and also from
choking on my
Radio Shack.
Good Lord.
Anyway, let me just see if I can get one more signal report from for Dennis, because I think it's kind of cool that he's probably the only one on here tonight with a magnetic loop. Kilo 1 Golf Mike, are you still there, Steve?
I am there, Kevin. And let's see, the Victor Echo 3 Juliet Delta Hotel, I think it was. Let's see, what was your name? Dennis, right? Dennis, I don't know if you copy me. Kilo 1 Golf Mike. You hear me okay?
Yeah, you're just above the noise. I can hear you. You're an S7. And I shut down a bunch of things so that I could get a better idea. If I turn the pre-selector, you clear it up, but I can't tell what the signal report is. But you're an S7 in North Bay right now.
Okay, gotcha. I've got you about an S8 into Vermont, southwestern Vermont. I'm deep in a hole. I'm in a canyon, basically, deepest, narrowest, chiseled canyon in the state of Vermont, with a 4,000-foot chunk of marble on my west side. So it's sometimes going this direction is a little difficult, but I got you about an S8. Mag loops, one of my favorite antennas. I run a mag loop portable. Believe it or not, it's the only time I've ever worked Australia is on a mag loop on, was it 20 meters? It was 20 or 40 meters. I think it was 20 meters. And it'll take a lot of power. It's actually Homebrew has I think it's a 12 kilovolt, 13 kilovolt cap, a Comet cap on it. It's a modular loop, so I jump LMR 400, lengths of LMR 400 in and out, depending on the band I want to work. It's all built on PVC, and it's all it's remotely driven from the station, whatever station I'm using, portable or fixed. And I was running a 30-meter legal limit magnetic loop built on aluminum flashing for a while. And that was running a 25 kilovolt cap. Fantastic antennas, very underrated. And I use, for anybody listening, what I use is an MFJ matchmaker 212 to tune the antenna. It's carrierless tuning. There's no carrier involved to tune those. So basically, if you're running a pan adapter, you watch the S meter, you tune on the dip, and that allows you to tune it without throwing a carrier out. Which is, if anybody who's played with a magnetic loop knows, they're extremely high Q, and it just protects the finals on the rig. And I use it actually on the station here, and I tune all my antennas like that. No carrier, no interference, no QRM or anything, and it works really well. Worth its weight in gold. Go ahead, Dennis, you can chuck it back to net control, K1 GMM.
Yeah, very fine. Yeah, you jumped up to about an S9, and what I did was I rotated the magnetic loop. It's only sitting at about 12 feet. I can rotate it. And you came up from an S7 to all the way up to an S9.
Okay, they are directional, aren't they? Surprising. Sometimes ground wave. I don't know if everyone's familiar with Richard Fuzinski's work. Richard Fuzinski. Just type in a search for helical magnetic loops. The guy holds multiple patents, and it's really fascinating the work he's done. He's put them up against textbook ground planes, and oftentimes they beat a textbook ground plane. So they're nothing to sneeze at. They do work. Anyways, go ahead, Kevin. Pick it back up there. Thanks for putting me in the loop there. K1GMM.
Yeah, very good, and thank you very much for giving Larry a signal report. It's probably the only magnetic loop that'll check into the net tonight. I think there's only two guys, including Dennis, who use them locally, and Dennis has a fantastic signal in here.
I'll turn the volume down. John, he is, I think he's up in Ontario.
Just real quick, Steve, could you give me that company name one more time?
It's an individual. His name, I don't know his call sign. His name is Richard Fuzinski. Fox Uniform Zulu, India, November, Sierra, Kilo, India. Fuzinski. And you'll find him. He's got a whole separate site, webpage. Fascinating work, man. Very compact and very efficient systems he puts together, proprietary. Really, really cool stuff. And it's all legal limit. You can snort some fire out of those things. Go ahead.
Okay, wow. Okay, I've got the correct spelling now, so I'm going to look him up, Steve. Thanks for that. And VE3 Bravo Kilowatt came in there as well, and I copy you, and I've added you to the bottom of my list. So very good. Thanks for that, Steve. Much appreciated. And I'll turn it back to Larry. I'll turn it back to Dennis one more time. Just anything else, Dennis, before I move along?
Yeah, no problem. The only thing I would like to know from Larry was his two 80-meter antennas. There was a difference of about 2 to 3 S units with his signal when he was switching from north-south to east-west. The east-west was the first one, and that one there I could read him a lot better. I had the same thing when I had...
Yeah, K1ZMT. Hey, good to see you, man. I have the I can't remember where I set the latency. I set it for stability. So there's going to be a huge lag on YouTube. Sometimes it's unstable, so I found if I set the latency, the lag slow, so that it's going for more quality, it tends to stabilize a little better, just to let you guys know. Probably about 20 seconds. I think it's probably, 15, 20 seconds, something like that.
Just to give you an idea. But the big thing is that they bring both converted V's to one at the same spot. Gather he's using 2 coaxes. And then I'll listen for him and see how he comes out. But other than that, Kevin, that's all for me for tonight. I'll just sit around here for a little while, but pretty soon I'll have to leave to go make my supper. There's nobody around here to do cooking, so I'll talk to you later. VA3RCA, VE3DJH.
Okay, V3DJH from VA3RCA with the 3640 net. I think you might have meant Graham, V3WGW. He's the fellow who had 2 80-meter dipoles, and he was switching back and forth. Larry, November 8, Delta Hotel Victor, he did try 2 different power levels, so maybe there was a little bit of confusion there. But anyway, I'm sure Graham is glad to get that report. Does that make sense? Dennis, back to you.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, it's Graham. Yeah, and his 2 80-meter antennas. That's something that I've always wondered, because I know people are trying to put one northeast and north-south, and the other one east-west. And I was going to do the same thing with 2 bazookas on 40 meters, and with this interaction stuff, it drives you crazy. But I found out that I think if you ground one antenna, it doesn't interfere with the other one there, Bill.
Yeah, Kev?
Yeah, Graham is breaking in there. V3WGW, go ahead from VA3RCA.
Yeah, Dennis, I'm copying you here better on the north-south one because it's facing towards you. The east-west one is facing more towards the lower end of Ontario.
Okay, yeah, you're 10 overhead 9 right now.
I can't complain about that. I'm going to go back to the other antenna and try it there. Stand by a sec. Yeah, I'm on the other antenna now. How's it? It's this east-west one.
Okay, you're a little stronger on the east-west one for me here.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Well, anyway, it shows they do make a difference, eh?
Yeah, they do. Direction makes a big difference, and a lot of people won't say that, but there is a difference.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Anyway, back to you, Kev. V3WGW.
Yeah, okay, sounds great, guys. By the way, Graham, I wasn't really on that over. I wasn't able to tell the difference between the two. They were both 20 dB over 9. So, I mean, you can't complain about that, can you? So, but it's interesting is direction. I have two antennas here. I have a fan dipole, 160 and 80, and then I have an off-center fed dipole cut for 80, and they are at 90 degrees to one another. And yet I don't really feel like I kind of wonder if the patterns might be sort of not very distinct because I can't really say with any definitive I can't really say definitively whether one favors any particular direction or the other. I really haven't been able to observe that, and yet they must on some level. Anyway, let's carry on. I'm clear now with Victor Echo 3 Delta Juliet Hotel. Thank you, Dennis. And next on my list is November 8, Delta Hotel Victor. Larry, come on in, Larry.
Yeah, real good. I was just checking my tune in the dummy load. And antenna's an inverted V and 65 foot high in the evergreen tree right outside of the porch in the middle of the lot. So the center's about 65 feet. And what, you know, I had to tell you, I gave up on Baluns years ago because they're nothing but a problem.
Okay, and by the way, you're way up over 20 dB over 9 on that over, Larry. Just under 30. Very good signal. Yeah, I've spoken to a number of people who have dispensed with balance on balanced dipoles, and I don't quite know where to comment on that. I have the one balanced dipole. It's the 160 meter and 80 combined, and I'm using a Balun with that one, and that's the antenna I'm transmitting on right now. I'm not sure what I would lose, if anything, if I didn't use a Balun. Back to you, Larry.
I don't think you'll lose anything if everything's done right and secure. I never use the connectors on the apex. I solder the shield to one leg and I solder the center to the other, and I don't have any problems, and I seal them up good with that tricky black tape. I forget what it's called. It's high voltage insulating tape. And you have to cover it with a black tape or the wasp will eat it.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay, so you're putting one type of tape on your connections to protect the connections, and then another type of tape to protect the original tape from the wasps. Did I get that right?
Absolutely. I don't know if they eat it or use it in their nest or what. I looked up there one day and there was a swarm on. What the heck? And I caught up there after it was about dark, and they were taking it.
Oh man, that's funny if it's happening to you, but from my point of view, that makes me laugh. Very cool. That's an interesting story. I've never heard of that before. Well, whatever you're doing is working extremely well for you, Larry. And yeah, I'm not here to sell anyone on the idea of a Balun. I think I put the Balun up on this antenna long before other folks I talked to said, "What are you doing that for, Kevin? You don't need one." And I'm not sure if it helps with things like RF noise coming back down the line or anything like that. I'm not sure, but whatever you're doing is working extremely well for you, Larry.
Well, I appreciate it. I lived here a year, and I only had an antenna halfway up the tree because I was having a little bit, I'm 69 in a good shape, but I was having a little dizziness problems, and I finally got ambitious, and for 3 days I cut limbs all the way, and I only got this center support up about 3 weeks ago, so I'm just tickled.
Yeah, that's up nice and high, and it's working very well. We don't have anybody who sort of regularly comes in and joins the net with that kind of signal. So, yeah, working good, Larry.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, the little 230 is right at, I baby, you can't get those tubes anymore, about 400 watts.
Okay. Well, 400 watts is working great for you. And thanks for joining us tonight. Anything else before I move down the list?
Oh, no, but next time you're on the antenna stuff, I've tried everything, and one thing I can tell you, if you just work your local guys 300-400 miles, put a reflector underneath it, even if you have to lay it on the ground, but it costs you on distance, so I took mine down to start working some CW.
Yeah, there is some QSB on there. K1ZMT.
Okay, so what does the reflector look like?
It's just 10% longer than the antenna, and it's on the ground, and the grass, you can't even find it anymore. It just pins it down. I didn't dig a trench. I just laid it down.
I have the squelch engaged, by the way. I put the squelch in, so the squelch is going to close when they stop talking.
Okay, so you're laying a counterpoise down on the ground.
Yeah, I used 75 ohm TV coax because it's cheap and it doesn't matter what the impedance is. I just wanted it fat. It works real good, but then I thought, you ruined your DX. So I just took it down here about a week ago, or took it up, pulled it out.
Okay, so it helps it the cloud burner kind of properties.
Yeah, it shoots you straight up.
Okay, which for conversations between you and me and even closer is kind of an advantage.
Exactly.
Okay, very interesting. Well, I'm glad you were here to join us for antennas tonight. And looks like my next guy is got to step away from the mic. Anything else, Larry, before I move on?
No, I just should probably identify. I had one more comment and I done lost it already. Oh, I'm a bachelor, so I got to get my kitchen cleaned. I clean it about every week, and a week later you can't tell it. So that's my project. But I'm still going to be listening. The old stuff you can turn up, and listen to it 3 rooms away. So that's why I like one of the things I like about the Drake and AT&T. Thanks for letting me in, and we'll be back, I'm sure.
Yeah, hey, what a fantastic radio and amplifier. Great to work you tonight, Larry, and looking forward to hearing you again. We're here every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 7-3, Larry. Okay, let's try V3WPK. Are you still there, Don, or did I lose you? I guess I lost Don. He sent me a message in the instant message window telling me he had to move on for the moment. Let's go next to V3XNS. Brian, you there?
Yeah, good evening, Kevin. I'm here. I guess the topic of the evening is antennas.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm kind of getting distracted tonight because it's kind of interesting to have a couple of stations join us from down south, and also the station came in from not Nova Scotia, but Newfoundland. My friend Clyde. That kind of blew my mind. But yes, tonight is HF antennas. What have you got? What are you planning? That kind of stuff.
Interesting. Some interesting things happening this evening. Kind of coincidental. I was playing with an antenna today for portable ops, kind of for parks on the air is what I'm planning it for. Because right now let's talk about the portable ops first, I guess. I've got a number of antennas for that. I've got the Eagle 1 antenna, which is a vertical, and I mount that on a trailer hitch mount using a flagpole so I can hold it vertically. and then I put 4 34-foot radials. Just point them out 90 degrees to each other approximately as best as you can, and that one has been working really, really well. Easy to put up. I pull into a spot, I can usually be set up within 15 minutes, and I'm ready to operate. So that one's a really good one in that regard. The other one I have is I do have an end set half wave. I use a 66-foot wire and a 49-to-1 Baluns, and that one's good for 80, 40, and so on. I wanted to play with that a little bit, maybe even try to get something a little better on 80, and maybe even to 160. So that's what I'm playing with today, with that 120-foot wire. Now, that's not measured yet. I basically strung off arm length, full arm length. I think I stretched off 20 times, two for 22 times, and then I just started cutting the wire a little bit with the analyzer on there, with the VNA, the nano VNA, and I got it down to a good-looking signal and left it at that. And that's when I contacted you to see how that would work, and it seemed to work pretty well. I'm going to have to put it up in the backyard, put it on the antenna switch, so I can switch back and forth between that and the T3FD, which is what I'm using for the base set. For those not familiar with a T3FD, that's a it's a terminated 3-wire folded dipole. There's about 280 feet of wire in total, even though the antenna is only about 88 feet long. And that's the one I'm working on right now. It seems to work quite well. The nice thing about that one is I haven't tested up in the air, but when I had it down about 4 feet off the ground, it was pretty much flat, less than 2 to 1. Across all bands, right from 160 through to 50, so it was pretty amazing what I was seeing on that. And that uses I think I've got a 9-to-1. I have a 9-to-1 or a 16-to-1 on that right now. Maybe it's a 16-to-1. I can't remember. I have to go have a look at the balance to remember what it is. And that's what I've got for wire antennas. The only other antenna I have that I'm using right now is a Cushcraft R7. I think it needs a little bit of work. It doesn't work the greatest, so I think that one's going to need some work. I have to tear it down next summer, clean up all the connections, and then properly retune it using the analyzer to make sure that all the segments are where they're supposed to be. I do have a...
Sorry about... I have hat head. I was wearing a hat all morning this morning, and it looks like I just got out of bed. You guys don't care, though, do
30
you?
feet, so it's actually usable. Even if I can't turn it for now, because I don't have a tower up in the air, that is. I do have a tower, but I just haven't put it up. I was going to do it this year and got lazy and didn't dig a hole. So there's my story, Kevin, and I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, V3XNS from VA3RCA with the 3640 net. Yeah, a lot of stuff in there. Kind of curious, Brian, with you were using the 120-foot wire with the 49-to-1 Balun when I first picked you up earlier on tonight. I'm curious how you had that attached, what your endpoint was, how high it was, stuff like that. And the Cushcraft R7, yeah, those are a little bit dicey, are they not? When it comes to tuning, don't you have to start one end and sort of adjust them towards the other, or as you progress through the bands, kind of thing? And yeah, you mentioned the 40-meter dipole, Brian. I'm kind of looking for one of those. If you see one of those for sale, please give me a heads up. I put an ad on KWARC, but I'm not sure if that'll help. Back over to you, Brian.
Yeah, as I understand, for the R7, I'm going to have to start at the lower bands and work my way up to the higher bands. So I have to go starting down around, I think, 40 or 80. I can go back with the specs. So the I just had it and work my way up to 50 and do it that way. So it'll work. It's going to be a pain to probably work on, but it is what it is. On the 120 wire.
Heavy fading. A lot of QSB on this guy.
A spider beam class control, or 12-meter one. So I had as the apex.
Jeez.
So I had it in a inverted V format. Each end of the wire was about 2.5 to 3 feet off the ground, which is where the Balun was as well, about 2 to 3 feet off the ground. I have these stakes I just stick in the ground. They're kind of like guard stakes that or whatever. And they seem to work quite well for that kind of thing. So from 3 feet up to
fell right out.
40 feet, stuff like that, the apex, and
hopefully my audio
seemed to work pretty well. I got through to you anyway, and didn't seem to be having too many issues on that end of it.
Yeah, very good, Brian. Yeah, it was working really well. So for a portable antenna, that would seem to be a good choice, and working well for you. Okay, very good. And lots of HF antennas going on over there. Anything other than getting the Cushcraft ready? Anything else you're thinking of trying?
Well, that was the T3SE, which is up there now, and it seems to be working quite well. As you know, my first version of that didn't go well. I kept having issues with it, and I had to take it down and put the G5RB up. And, of course, the G5RB, well, a good antenna is, I don't think it's as good as the T3SE, and I'm almost thinking that 120-foot wire end fed will be better than it as well. So, yeah, I gotta put that one up maybe sometime through the week, and then try making some contacts or listening to some places and just seeing what the differences are between that and the T3SE, and kind of go from there. And maybe I'll have it up for next week's net to maybe do a little test with.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you know, you can get a great impression. When you have more than one antennas available, it really opens things up, right? I mean, you can compare and really get a great feel for how it's working just by how well it receives. If you can hear me better, I probably can hear you better, if you know what I mean. Okay, Brian, I'll if you unless you have anything else, I'll move on down my list. But thank you for joining us tonight, and thanks for your thoughts.
Yep, roger that. Well, thanks for running the net there again tonight, Kevin. Always interesting net. I will be bowing out now because I do have to head to the CFARS net, which starts in about 7 or 8 minutes. So I won't be here if we do a second go-around. Once that net is over, then it's off to dinner, and then I'm kind of done for the evening. So have a great evening. 7-3 to all in the net, and we'll talk to you all later. VE3XNet.
Okay, VE3XNS from VA3RCA. Hey, enjoy the CFARS net. I'm glad the timing of all that worked out. Have a great evening, Brian. 7-3.
7-3, Kevin.
Okay, this is the 3640 net, and I'm midway through a list of check-ins. When I get to the bottom, I'll invite others to join us. Topic tonight is HF antennas. What do you got? What are you planning? What have you tried in the past? Anything HF antennas is the topic tonight. Next on my list, I have V3WGW. Hey, Graham, come on in.
Hey, Kev, how are you doing? The HF antennas, well, I have the two here for 75. I feed them with, all my antennas are fed, except for, how many? Just let me look here. Except for two, fed with 75 ohm RG6 cable. I have the compression tool, and I have the ends, and then I have adapters to go to PL259. So it's pretty decent. Cheap, as somebody else added there, cheap coax. And if you get good quality stuff, American or style cable is pretty good. So, you know, there's lots of that around. There's loads of cable around, 75 ohms. Your local cable companies, they got tons of it. So, or should I say miles of it. But anyway, I got the two up for 75 meters. They are half-wave dipoles. One is east-west, one that's just a straight dipole. Inverted V going, the north-south one is from one tree to the other. And the east-west one is off the top of the tower down to a tree in the other end. And the ends are, well, the radiating ends are about 10 feet off the ground for that. And for 40 meters, I have another inverted V, again, fed with 75 ohm coax, on a Balun. Yeah, I can't afford to go and buy Balun every time I want one. But I find them, Balun keeps the RF off the cable and everything else, and I never have problems with RF in the shack. Then I have my OCF, the K1PO version, which is a decent little antenna. It's up about 15 feet, which they say is what it should be. And that's fed with chunk RG58. So it's just, when I put it up, that's what I had, that's what I used.
so still use it. And then for the last antenna I have an old CB big stick, which works great on 10 meters, 24 megs, and it's not bad. It works. So, you know, what I've got is what I've got. What would I like? I'd like a 100-foot tower with about a 10-element Yagi on it. You know, something like that. But hey, that's a bit of a pipe dream. As far as antennas I've used, I used a log periodic when I was up north, had access to one, and also a rhombic when I was up north. And they were fantastic antennas for DX. Goodness gracious, not the rhombic, the other one. Well, I even forget the name of it. Anyway, that one, it was mounted on 2 poles about 100 feet apart, and you could go anywhere because it was for marine and aircraft and everything. It had a bandwidth from 2 megs right straight through to pretty near 30. It was 230, but it worked amazingly well. And you know, the log periodic one, and that was a fun antenna. And but the rhombic was up on top of the hill where the upper base was, up in the Callaway. And we used to use that. Everything was still there. The cable come down and you just hook onto it and away you go. That was a great field day antenna. But anyway, other than that, I'd like to have the space to put some antennas up. I had, when I was in New Brunswick years ago, I was on a 100-acre property and I had an 80-meter V antenna, and that was fed with, I think about 500 feet of half-inch heliacs, which I was very fortunate to get. But that antenna worked amazingly well too. But you know, you work with what you got, and that's all you can do. Anyway, back to you, Kev. VA3RCA, VE3WGW.
Yeah, VE3WGW from VA3RCA. Hey, I was just Googling rhombic antennas while I was listening to you because I really don't know much about the rhombic antenna. I've never seen one, or I don't think I've even, well, maybe I haven't, I just don't know. I talked to someone who's using it. Interesting group of antennas you've got there. And let me ask you this: the two that you've got right now, the two 80-meter antennas at 90 degrees to one another, when you flip, when you're listening to me and you flip back and forth between the two of them, what kind of a signal difference are you seeing between the two antennas?
I'm seeing, well, it goes down from about 30 over to a little under 20 over.
Okay, so you're seeing 10 dB, something like that, between the two. Is that right?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay, that's interesting. And, you know, I often flip back and forth between the 80-meter dipole I've got here and the 80-meter OCF, which, as I said, are at 90 degrees to one another. I find that the dipole is typically, I don't know, I would say somewhere between 3 and 6 dB stronger than the OCF. And I don't know that that's because of the difference in the type of antenna. It's probably, you know, things like the height and how high up the endpoints are and all that good stuff. But I don't get a whole lot of difference that I can find based on direction. You know, when direction is the thing, you'll usually find that some people are stronger on one, some people are stronger on the other, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. And you never know. You just keep flipping, and then you find the one that's best, and you talk on it.
Right, and the other challenge that I have is that one is much better from a noise perspective than the other. The antenna I'm not using tonight, my off-center fed dipole, has a much lower noise threshold on it than this one does. Probably on the order of maybe 2S units, 12 dB lower noise on the other antenna. In the evenings on 80 meters, it doesn't matter all that much. There's enough noise coming in from propagation that it sort of swamps the noise on the OCF anyway. Back to you.
Yeah, exactly. On the OCF, what do you have? Do you have a 4-to-1 balun on that?
Yep, that's correct. It's 45 feet of wire on one side, 90 feet of wire on the other side, and it's using a 4-to-1 balun. And this antenna is a 160 meter and an 80 meter full dipole, both on the same 1-to-1 balun. And that antenna more or less runs east to west on my property.
Yeah, well, another thing, too, if it's parallel with the power lines, it's going to give you a little interference, or a little more noise than what if it's 90 degrees to them.
Well, and that's what okay, so hang on. Say that again. Which one do you expect to pick up more power line noise?
The one that runs parallel to the power lines will pick up more noise. The one that is at 90 degrees will be a quieter antenna.
Okay, that's what I would have expected and not what I am seeing. The one I'm on right now is more degrees different from the power lines. It's not quite a full 90 degrees different from the power lines, but it's significantly off from the power lines. The OCF is actually directly parallel to the power lines, and that's the lower noise antenna. Go figure.
Yeah, as I say, you never know what antenna's going to do what, that's for sure. Anyway, I'll let you get back there and get on with something. Oh, and the baluns, I build my own baluns, 1.5 black ABS pipe, couple of end caps, piece of ferrite rod, 239, and a couple of those little stainless steel loops out the side, so they work good.
Okay, fantastic. Hey, and that reminds me, the other guy I haven't heard tonight is Ray, V3DDU. He also likes to make his own balance. So, yeah, very good. Well, what you're doing is working great for you, Graham, and I will say 7-3 just for the moment and move on down the list. Back to you.
I'm waiting to check in.
Somebody check in?
Yeah, V3DDU. I was just, I got late. I didn't realize it was 4 o'clock. Oh.
You just got up from your nap, did you?
No, I was outside working.
Ah, there you go. Almost flashlight working time.
This is a cool net. I can't believe it. This is great. These guys are awesome. Listen to these guys.
Yep, got you on the list, Ray. Good to hear you. And 7-3 for the moment to you, Graham. Now clear with V3WGW from VA3RCA. We're talking HF antennas tonight on the 3640 net. V3UME is next. Are you still there, Brant?
Yes, I am, and I'll be here for a bit. I gotta go have some dinner in a bit, but I'm using, as you know, an 80-meter off-center feed here, and what else can I say? Oh yeah, your dipole. Yeah, you will be.
Jeez, I wish he'd turn his freaking radio down in the background. I don't know why these guys do this. They got like radios going in the background.
Cut forward because you want to keep the voltage off the feed line to it if you're using coax to the dipole. So your signal here is good tonight. As usual, my 80-meter noise level is very high.
It's kind of interesting to hear all the different antennas, isn't it?
Okay, very good, Brant. You're 20 dB over 9 here, so great signal. And I missed what kind of antenna you're using. I wasn't sure if it was center fed or if you said off center fed, so maybe you can correct me on that. And it's funny, you know, Brant, I've always come from the school of using Baluns with
Hey, Paul. Yeah, these aren't even good.
And yet some
I mean, it's not even open yet. I get 30 to 50 over in here, man. It's blasting on 80. It's crazy usually.
Yeah, well, if you want to skip the, you know, RF coming back in your shack of that, you get
audio.
line radiation, which the Balun looks after. Now, yeah, I'm using an 80 meter off-center feed here.
This loop is unrivaled on receive, man. It is. These loops, they're freaking amazing. They're big, and they're a pain in the ass to get up there, but boy, they work good.
Also, something I've been playing with, I got a 4-foot trim, a little compact trim.
We got splatter douche on 3630. Is that 3636?
Manual tuner. It does a wonderful job on 10 meter, 20 meters, 15
Yeah, 3636. Splatter boy.
I can load it up pretty good on bands, and it's just a $50 TV antenna. It works like a charm with the antenna tuner.
Yeah. Okay. Very good, Brant. I guess the only thing, you know, when I played around with antenna tuners on a 17-foot whip on my vehicle, and I guess the only downsides is you get a fair amount of loss on the coax line. I mean, it matches out okay, but the losses kind of start to add up. But hey, everything that works, you know, enjoy using it, right? So if it's working well for you, go for it. Back to you.
Okay, yeah, no, that's what it is. It's trial and error. It's all about trial and error. I've got a 6-meter dipole up in the attic that's made out of aluminum plastic, and it seems to work quite well. It's quite broadbanded. But anyway, with that, 73, everybody, you're doing a great job, Kevin, and your signal is 20 over up here as well. So 73, catch you guys later. I'm going out for dinner. These 3 you and me out.
Okay, well, please enjoy your dinner, Brant, and it's good to talk to you. And thank you for always promoting and supporting my net. I appreciate it very much. 7-3, and have a great evening. V3UME from VA3RCA. Okay, clear with VE3UME. This is VA3RCA with the 3640 net. Tonight we're talking HF antennas. Let's see if Kilowatt 1 Golf Mike is still there. Are you out there, Steve?
Yep, I'm here there, Kevin. Thanks for picking me up. And I had a couple questions right out of the gate. I do a lot of evaluating of the antennas I run here. And if Graham, is that his name? Graham? If Graham is still in there, and this question goes to Graham and you, Kevin. I'll start with Graham. V3WGW, are you still in there? And if you are, how much power were you running? Go ahead. This is K1GMM, over. I don't hear him, Kevin. Kevin, how much power are you running, and where about? I know you're in Ontario, right? How much power and what antenna are you running? Go ahead.
Okay, very good. I guess we lost Graham there, Steve. So I'm using an 80 meter dipole, just a straight 80 meter dipole. As it happens, it has a 160 attached to it as a fan, and the apex is probably up about 50 feet in the air, and the ends are maybe 30 to 40 feet up, and somewhere just around a kilowatt of power.
Okay. So what is my signal to you? Over?
20 dB over 9.
Okay, this is what I'm looking for. All right, very good. You're 30 over. You're about anywhere from 25 to 30 over. There is some QSB. Everybody on the net is running anywhere. The weakest signal was about S8. That was the mag loop into southwestern Vermont. And I'll tell you what I've got here listening. And you're the strongest. So you can go ahead and put the crown on. You're blasting. So everybody's from anywhere from 8 on average to about 15 over into Vermont. S8 to 15 over, generally S9 plus 10 plus 15. Some of them just trying to bump plus 20. All right. That being said, I'm pushing 400 out exactly. The antenna is an 80-meter delta loop, apex down, fed from the bottom apex. And it's hanging in the front yard. It is matched directly with a length of RG11 times 0.85 VF. And that comes into there's a 1-to-1, Balun Designs 1-to-1 at the feed point. What is it, a 4 kilowatt, 5 kilowatt? That flows into a piece of RG11 times 0.85 VF, quarter wavelength. And that is barreled into, I would say 40 feet of Mini 8, which comes into the switch in the southeast corner of the basement. And then there's about a 40-foot run of LMR 400 into the shack. So that's what's going on here. Phenomenal ears this thing has. I'm not here to tout the antennas. So just tell you what I'm running. On 40 meters, I run a parasitic delta loop array. That flies about 60 feet. It's a 2-element delta loop, and it's reversible using open stubs, 38.6 feet of RG6 quad shield. And that has been a game changer, that antenna. Phenomenal package. And I run literally the baby brother to that on 20 meters. And that flies at about 70 feet. And there's 2 delta loops spaced 10 feet apart on 20, equal length, fed with equal length stubs. And all the antennas use double pole, double throw relays to reverse direction. And those have been a game changer as well. Enormous gain, phenomenal ears on those antennas, very, very good. But however, I'm going to say I live in a very unique QTH. I live 500 feet in elevation. I have a 4,000-foot chunk of marble on my west side, which is 60 to 65 degrees NVIS going west to go over the top. I live right at the base of it. And on the east side, less than a quarter mile from my house, across the valley floor is Baker Peak, which is 3,000 feet, and that's NVIS. So I need antennas that put me at 30 to 35 degrees going east-northeast. So these antennas are specifically designed. Took me 3 years to come up with a design with considerable gain, 2 elements going in very specific directions to maximize the punch. Not good as far as long haul DX antennas, but that I can't do that here. So that's what's going on. Had a comment on Baluns. Boy, what a loaded one, isn't it? I don't run. I use ferrite beads on the stubs just to see if I can shut off any common mode. It seems like the longer wavelengths, I have more issues with pulse back. Like if on 100 watts, it's fine. But the minute I start pushing 400, 500, 600 watts, 800 watts, I'll see a little pulse back coming back, trying to come back in here. So I do run some kind of choke. The 1-to-1 is on the 80. And the reason why I do that is I run a DAW on audio. I'll throw this out there. And I run a dual sound card setup. I'm on a 7300 right now, but I also have an Apache and a Sun SDR2 DX. Even the 7300 is set up for virtual. So all the audio being piped into the 7300 is all virtual. It's not analog. It's all handled by a DAW with sound cards. And sound cards are extremely susceptible to RFI. You can actually grenade them. So I'm very, very careful about anything trying to come back in. So that's it in a nutshell, Kevin. Go ahead. And boy, such a great topic, interesting conversation. Go ahead. VA3 RCA, thank you much. K1 GMM.
Yeah, K1 GMM from VA3 RCA. Wow, there was a lot in there, Steve. I was scribbling here, making some notes on what you had set up there, and it sounds like you've got a great set of antennas. Delta loops are. Please excuse my ignorance. I'm not that knowledgeable on antennas. A Delta loop style antenna is a horizontal loop, correct?
Negative. I should have said that. These loops are all hanging in the vertical plane. And so if you picture a triangle, the apex, so one of the corners you'd call an apex, right? So all of my loops, including the parasitic beams, hang apex down. If fed from the bottom apex, they are horizontally polarized with a moderately high angle of radiation, which is what I need. I need 30, 40 degrees to get out of this hole. Going east. But the minute you put another element behind it or in front of it, the gloves come off, everything changes with the antenna. They become a whole different animal. But as single element delta, the interesting thing about deltas, one, if you don't see 2 to 4 S units quiet or signal over a dipole, something's wrong. You got something wrong there. Or you've got literally a horrific noise level. They're quiet. Do they have any gain over dipole? Whatever. Marginal. You can orient them apex up, feed them from the bottom corner. You can vertically polarize them, lowering the takeoff angle, turning them into more of a DX antenna. There's a very versatile antenna, extremely versatile. You can do all kinds of things with them. Mine are all apex down. Horizontally polarized, moderately high angle radiation as far as a single element goes. That's what I'm on right now. Kind of a hybrid between, an NVIS cloud burner and I should add I had more fun with this antenna. I have never had more fun with an antenna than this antenna. Last winter, I ran a full wave loop, square loop on 80 meters, and this was a CBIC design. And I put a reflector underneath it at 24 feet. Holy cow. I've never had 30 over reports on 100 watts anywhere. And that was an absolute slayer on 50 miles to about 300 to 500 miles, depending on how the band was behaving. That was the best antenna I ever had up for NVIS. It was an absolute monster. Go ahead, Kevin. A lot of fun. K1 GMM.
Yeah, K1 GMM from VA3 RCA with the 3640 net. Wow. Okay, you had me chuckling there with the full wave loop with the reflector, and sounds like an incredible antenna for local. And I'm fascinated by your other antennas. I didn't know that Delta loops could take on that kind of a configuration. I think I can envision what you're doing there. Interesting location. I think you did you really say a 4,000-foot chunk of marble? I think that's what you said.
Yep, it is literally like, I can't remember, 4 feet shy of 4,000 feet, NVIS, literally right off my western doorstep, right off the west side. And the reason why I know it takes 60 degrees plus of NVIS angle to breach the top of the mountain is because I used to do a lot of satellite work, and I know that because I know how the antennas have to be pointed, the elevation angle of the antennas to hit a bird. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. That'd be a very challenging location for satellite work, wouldn't it? I mean, you'd have a huge blind spot, would you not?
Horrible, dude. Absolutely worthless. Not recommended.
Yeah, okay, those are the kinds of words I might have used. Okay. Wow. What a great story, and I'm glad you stumbled by us on HF Antenna Night. What great timing, Steve. Thank you.
Hey, no, thank you. I've been listening intently. And by the way, to everybody, I'm pushing a live stream on the K1GMM YouTube channel, and it will render, and I will leave it up there so everybody can see their signal reports. And I'm running SDR console as the front end, using a decent quality dongle, a mid-range dongle. The receive is superb. So if anybody wants to go in after the fact, give it a couple hours for it to render, and it should be visible tonight. And you as well, Kevin, you can see what's going on with everybody on the net. And it's just been fascinating. I've been sitting here listening, taking notes, and the guys are teasing me. They're like, look at him go, he's taking notes. So it's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Kevin. And I'm going to go ahead and listen through until the end. K1GMM.
Okay, well, thank you for telling me about your YouTube channel, Steve. I'm going to check that out because often I've got a mailing list for this net, and some people enjoy listening to the playback of our net. I generally record it and then send out a link to the recording, and I completely forgot to do that tonight. So instead, what I'm going to do is send out a link to your YouTube channel. So that's kind of cool. Thanks for doing that, Steve, and thanks for joining us tonight. We're here every Sunday night at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, and I'm looking forward to coming back, and I promise I won't talk as much. But it's a lot of fun. I've been looking for a net. I'm curious to see what other topics you guys cover in here. I'm kind of an antenna freak. I love hearing what other people are doing with antennas. I'm always on the hunt. Always looking to try new things and stuff. So this was a great net, as well as a lot of other stuff. So been a pleasure. And 7.3 all around. I'm going to just listen through quiet here. K1GMM. And yep, no problem. The stream will be visible. And you guys can get in there and look through it and give her a listen. Signing clear unless otherwise notified. K1GMM. See you guys.
Okay, great to work you, and a really great addition to the net tonight. Antennas are always a great topic, Steve. I think it was V3DDU Ray who referred to antennas being the raw meat of net discussions. Good to talk to you tonight. Now clear with K1GMM, and next on my list is Victor Echo 3, Victor Golf Juliet. Are you there?
Yeah, Steve, pardon me, Kevin's still here.
Oh, fantastic, and I've got a great signal from you. I believe it's Joseph, have I got it right?
Yeah, Joe here in Bowmanville, yes, and just at the corner, I almost was ready to leave to have my dinner, but now I can carry on here. Very interesting topic tonight. Great stuff here, and myself, I'm using a dipole for 80 meters, just strung up along a fence, and also I have here is a 40 and 20 meter fan dipole strung up in a white pine behind my place, and that works great. And then I also have a hex beam. Future plans will be to put an 80, 40, and 20 dipole up and get rid of the 40 and 20, all homemade stuff. But basically, that's what I'm using most of the time here.
Okay, fantastic, Joe. And so I copied an 80 meter dipole and a 20-40 meter fan and also a hex beam. That's excellent. I haven't mentioned it yet on the net tonight, but I also have a hex beam and really love the antenna. They're very nice and low wind load, low weight, and as 2-element antennas go, they're very good. The hex beam format, you lose a little bit of forward gain, and what you get in return is side and rear rejection that are similar to a 3-element antenna. So, I'm a big fan of the hex beam Joe, and sounds very good. The only thing I was thinking of adding to what I have here is I don't really have anything purpose-built for 40. I have this OCF antenna cut for 80, and it works on 40, but I wouldn't mind getting something a little bit better with 40. How do you like your hex beam, Joe?
I really like it there, Kevin. Unfortunately, my rotator has died, and I've got everything to replace it, and plus I'm going to add an extra section onto the tower. I just have it on a TV tower here, and I'm going to go up an extra 10 feet, and that's the plan for the next month or so. Yes, cold weather, miserable conditions, that's the time to do antenna work, so it's all planned along great, and like I said, I bought a new rotator for it. And another thing, when I'm up north at the family cottage there, I use an end-fed half-wave antenna, 80 meters and down, and I love it. It works very well up there. It basically goes up vertically 30 feet and then back just over 100 feet, and works quite well. And also playing around, they have those Wolf River coils. You've probably heard of them. A lot of people use it for POTA. Well, I ended up making
those
one
are
up.
Awesome.
And,
Wolf River coils, awesome stuff.
I call it the Bowmanville Creek coil. And anyway, that's I'm going to eventually get involved with this POTA, so that's what I'm going to be using for it. Back to you.
Very good. I'm just feverishly writing some notes here. You made me laugh with the Bowmanville Creek coil. You know, Joe, I almost feel like you've been watching me or something, because we've got a lot of antennas here in common. As I told you, I'm also using a hex beam, and for portable use for POTA, I'm just a real rank beginner here at POTA, Joe, but I also have the end-fed half-wave at 130 feet, and I've got Wolf River coil, which I'm sort of enjoying learning how to use, mucking around with it with a 17-foot whip. So, yeah, I think we've been looking over one another's shoulders, Joe. Back to you.
Oh, very good there, Kevin. Yes, it sure does sound that way. The issue I'm having with the coil that I made, the Bowmanville Creek one, is I wanted to order a 17-foot telescopic vertical thing for it, and just backlog. I was waiting, so I canceled the order. So I ended up getting some, I think it was 1/2 inch, 3/8, and then 1/4 inch aluminum rod, and screwing it together, and to make that part of it. But I think it's available now. I'm going to order myself one of the 17-foot telescopic antennas. It'd be a lot easier for portable use and putting that together. But yes, it's a lot of fun, lots of experimenting to do. Always something to keep yourself busy, definitely. Back to you.
Yeah, you know, Joe, I don't know if you heard me mention earlier in the net, but there's some real problems with scarcity of aluminum, and I went looking for a 40-meter rotatable dipole, and I was pretty much laughed out of the store. You know, there's 2 or 3 different models that I know of that you can buy, and none of them are available, and the ETAs are crazy long, and they all quote scarcity of aluminum. I also had trouble finding the 17-foot extensible. I've got the MFJ one, and that was real hard to get. I considered myself real lucky when I got one of those.
Yeah, Roger, that's the one. I think I was trying to order from MFJ and ended up canceling the order. And then I think there's another one. Oh, geez. Oh, there's a Chameleon manufacturer. I think they have them available now, but they're shipping, and where is it now? I'm trying to look at the name here. Anyway, they have them, but the shipping is like $40, and that's quite a bit added cost, especially when it's American dollars. Back to you.
Yes, Chameleon is the name, and they make fantastic antenna products. A lot of people speak very well of them, and they've got a 17-foot whip for sure. And just while we're talking here, I grabbed the Radio World website, and the model number for the 17-footer is the MFJ 1979, and I see that they are out of stock. It's on order, so that's where I got mine from. So I guess, you know, finding them is a bit challenging, but I'm sure you'll get one.
Yeah, I'm just like I say, might bite the bullet and get the other one. And meanwhile, I still have the one that I can screw together the 3 sections, and it works good. I've done some experimenting with it and playing around and setting up the SDR with the nano VNA and having a lot of fun with it. I just got to get out there and get into one of the local parks around here. Back to you.
Yeah, me as well. I got to spend some more time in parks next summer. I kind of got myself all outfitted, and I've done a couple of activations, and then that, the summer is sort of winding down. I mean, I know the guys are still out there doing the parks now, and I'm probably a bit of a chicken here for not being out in a park. But anyway, great comparing notes with you, and thanks for telling us all about your antennas. It's been a blast here tonight, Joe.
Yeah, great. As mentioned, good topic there. We'll say 7 threes, and looking forward to your follow-up emails there.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. Glad you're on the list, and we'll talk to you soon, Joe. VE3VGJ from VA3RCA.
Yeah, 7 threes there, Kevin. VA3RCA, VE3VGJ.
Okay, this is the 3640net. The topic tonight is HF antennas. What do you got? What are you thinking of building? Got any plans? That kind of stuff. And next on my list, I've only got 2 more, and then I'll invite additional check-ins. Next on my list, I have V3BK. Are you out there, Richard?
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I'm out here, Kevin. Your signal, I've noticed it fluctuate back and forth, so there's got to be conditions. But I'm hearing everybody pretty good. Even Steve there in Vermont, I'm hearing him pretty good. So anyway, I was just about to leave. It's been an hour, I guess, and boy, good. A lot of people on your net tonight. Different information with antennas and stuff. Myself, all my wire antennas. I've got inverted L on 160. I have half-wave slopers on 40 and 80, and that's about it. Plus, the other's a beam, and I've got some stuff for 2 meters as well. But my wire antennas, until I put balance on them, I make my own balance too, and until I put balance on them, I would get complaints every time I ran power or whatever from the neighbor. Now the neighbor did get his cable system upgraded, and when he went to a new he went to a higher speed, I guess, and I never heard no complaints from him since. And I've been using balance with power on contests and stuff, Kevin, and nobody complains. So these are homemade balance. And I bought all the stuff at Home Depot, stainless steel hardware, the conduit and all that stuff, and they're wire round, and I think they're capable of 5 kilowatts because I use 10 gauge wire, like really went over the top with them. But they seem to work pretty good, and I haven't had any complaints. So wire antennas, and let me make a comment about antennas in general. The antenna that is best is the one that fits on your lot. And if you're in the city, well, then you have to have a compromise, and that's what I've got. I've got half sloper compromise antenna. It's a 1/4 wave piece of wire, and the other side of the antenna, through the balance, is the tower. So half is wire, half is tower. And that's probably why I get noise. I'm grounded very well. And being in the city, I get some noise. I'm really close to a main hydro line going down a main street there. I'm only a house and a half away from that, so I probably get some noise from there. But today, I got to admit, the noise level's low here, and I'm hearing just about everybody on there. I maybe not be able to understand everybody, but I'm hearing them pretty good anyway. And Kevin, yours is booming in here. So anyway, how much am I running here? I'm running about 500 watts a day, and that's about it. Anyway, so back to net, and if Steve from Vermont, I think it's called Kilowatt 1, Germany, November, Mike. I'm not sure though. If he's still there, if you could give me a report, that would be good. Over. Okay, Steve, Kilowatt 1, Germany, Mike. Yeah, you're 5'9" plus a little bit here. Over, not quite 5, but I've got an ICOM here, and it's got sort of a stingy needle. If I put my preamp on, you'd probably give you a truer signal report. But anyway, your signal is good. Anyway, yeah, balance. I think balance are good because they stop the RF coming off your feed line. And like I said, I'm close to a lot of neighbors here. I'm in the old part of city Hamilton. The call here, Steve, is Victor Echo 3, Bravo Kilowatt, V3BK. So anyway, I'm right in the city of Hamilton, and we're right in the middle. And until recently, my noise level was pretty high. So it's actually improved over the time. I think the hydro may have done some work around here. We had a bit of problem with the down guys, the down ground copper wire disappearing and probably going to the scrapyard. So that's what happened. But I think they've improved that. My noise level has gone down. But when I run the net that I run on Monday night on 3693, sometimes the noise level, I just can't hear people being in the lower part of the city. And we have an escarpment here, Steve. We call it the mountain, but it's really just an escarpment, maybe 150 feet. So that sometimes blocks some of the signals this way. Anyway, Kevin, good net. And I didn't expect to wait this long. I had bad back here on Monday, and I didn't do the net because I couldn't sit for very long, and I was ready to move here. So I'm glad you turned it over to me. And anyway, we're sitting here on the side. So back to you, Kevin. And your problem with the antenna being your off-center fed dipole being parallel with the hydro lines, it all depends on the distance away. If you were close to the hydro lines, you would definitely pick up more noise on that antenna. And I just wonder if maybe you can tell me, is either antenna closer to the hydro line? So your other one that's not quite 90 degrees, is it closer to the hydro line than the off-center fed dipole? And off-center fed dipole, we've used quite a few different antennas out at the site, and they are compromised, but they do work. So we have one for 160 at our contest site, and it's always a pain on the long end, keeping it up in the air. And it's close to the ground. So it definitely works though. And your height sounds pretty good there, Kevin. You've got a great signal here. You're 5'9" plus 10 and then some. So, but the signal went down to 9 at one point. Anyway, that's long enough for me. And back to you, Kevin. VA3RCA, V3BK.
Yeah, V3BK from VA3RCA, and just want to acknowledge V3WPK. I see that you're back. And I should say, Rex, my apologies for taking so long to come back to you. Doing a net with a topic is kind of fun and interesting, but it can go on for an awful long time. The net went on for 3 hours last week. So hopefully not quite so long tonight. Anyway, thanks for waiting, and thanks for telling us about your antennas, and another vote for building your own Baluns, and that's excellent. I know Ray's coming up next, and he's also into building his own Baluns. I laughed when I heard your comment about the best antenna for you is the antenna that fits on your lot, and unfortunately, that's where a lot of us start as hams, right?
Boy, ain't that the truth, guys.
And say, well, what can I fit here?
It's whatever you can get in there is the best antenna.
Early on
That's
is
true.
when I put up my tower, I could have positioned the tower a little bit better. I would have liked a more central location, using it as an anchor for wire antennas. And once I learned how to use the trees more adequately, things really started moving for me. To answer your question about which the antenna with more noise, it happens to run parallel to the hydro line, but it's a little further away from the hydro lines. It's probably 100 feet from the hydro lines running in parallel. The other one runs 90 degrees to the power lines, but of course gets a lot closer to them, and that is the lower noise antenna. Or hang on, that's the higher noise antenna, the one that runs 90 degrees to the power lines, but I guess maybe comes as close as 40 feet away from the line. So over to you, Rick.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, it's closer. That's probably why it's picking up more hydro noise. Well, that was something in my job. We had to run wires all the time, and we were told to stay away from any power wires. Make sure if you're running parallel to them, you're far enough away from them, and then it doesn't affect them. They're far enough away. But if you ran close to them, boy, oh boy, you talk about noise and stuff. Yeah, terrible noise. Yeah. Anyway, just to comment on the antenna for your lot. I talked to a fellow in New York City one time, and he was on an inverted L on 160, and so was I. And his inverted L was in his small backyard, and it was the horizontal part of it was zigzagged 5 times. But he was right next door to me. So a lot of it's propagation, but also an antenna like that tuned up for him without much trouble. And buying antennas, it seems like the younger generation want to buy antennas, and we always made our own. I have like 2 extra 40-meter dipoles here, Kevin, that are made for field day. And
build your antennas, folks. That's how we learn. Build them. Figure out what works.
I got one made up.
It's fun, man. It can be frustrating, but it is a lot of fun, and it's insanely rewarding. I just love building antennas, but I'm a freak. I know. Not everybody's like me, and that's actually a good thing.
Close to the house, close to the tower, close to the ground. The difference is it will change the characteristics.
But I am the cheapest bastard you ever make, so I'll leave it there. Those of you who know me know that to be fact.
So if you buy a store-bought antenna, it's cut for ideal situations, and once you put it up in your lot, you may have to trim it or add to it or do something to make it so your radio likes it and you don't have to use a tuner all the time. Anyway, that's all I got to say, and I'll be listening along here, Kevin. So thanks for letting me in, and great net with lots of different opinions. Everybody has different successes with different antennas depending on what they can put up. Anyway, back to you. VA3RCA, V3BK.
Yeah, V3BK from VA3RCA. I thought you made a really good point about antennas that zig and zag. Two of the things that sort of changed my antenna world were understanding how to best use trees, and also to not sweat the little stuff on antennas. If you've got to zig it or zag it a little bit, get over yourself and do it, because in most cases it will work very well anyway. Thanks for joining us tonight, Rick. Great to hear you as always. Oh, and I very much hope your back is better. I joined in on your net last week, and I know you weren't able to make it, and I hope your back is better, my friend. And everyone listening, Rick, VE3BK, is the host of the Hamilton Amateur Radio.
Yeah, he's a little overmodulated. He's pushing a little too hard.
Monday nights on 3693 at 8 p.m. Thanks, and 7-3, Rick. V3BK from VA3RCA.
73, Kevin.
Okay, clear with V3BK. Next on my list, V3DDU. You out there, Ray?
V3DDU. Good evening, Kevin and everybody on the net. Yeah, besides my OCF and my inverted L for 160 and stuff like that, I'm actually in the process now. I've been amassing parts and stuff like that. The main part is actually coming in tomorrow from DX Engineering. I am building the phase receive antennas. Actually, I'm going to be building two verticals. They're going to be very hastily built. They're just temporary. They're going to come down because in the springtime, I'm putting up two delta loops in a TP formation, which will be 4 feet off the ground, and probably the apex will be 34 feet. I got all the stuff in the main box. Phase box is coming tomorrow or Tuesday. So I've been amassing parts for this, and we're finally going to get it underway. And not only that, my MFJ 1026 has got a little bit of problems. So I said, you know what, I gotta get another box anyways. I'm gonna be phasing antennas instead of doing this and that. It costed a ton of money, but I got much more sensitive preamps I ordered in it. Then you can actually order with it. So I got some better stuff that's going into it. But so we're concentrating on a electronically rotatable receiver array. Back to you.
Yeah, V3DDU from VA3RCA.
Man, I'd transmit on that sucker. Are you kidding me?
Much on the net here tonight, and it bears discussion. Is the idea of separate receive antennas. You know, if you've been floating around 80 meters, 160 meters for a while, you begin to realize that one of your biggest limitations is your receive. I mean, a great case in point this evening. You know, Clive came in early on in the net from Newfoundland, Canada, and I could barely hear him. He was about S7. If I could dig into the noise a little bit, I would have been able to hear him with an S7 signal, no problem. So, great example. Anyway, I'm glad you're doing that, Ray, and I'm...
Hey, Gabriel, what's up, dude? Thanks for jumping in, man. Saying hello. Hope all is well.
Yeah, it's going to be different, but the verticals that I'm building, they're going to be very hastily built. They're going to work and everything, but they're just going to be for experimentation for the winter time before the other setup goes up there. For instance, I'm going to be able to null out 360 degrees. I can null out anything I want. Just here, listen to nothing. I'm not sure what the window is, but I think it's 10 degrees. I'm going to try to get it down as low as I can. I'd like to see 5 degrees on it instead, where I can null out everything like 355 degrees, and therefore let the sensitivity preamps take over. So that's why I want the two delta loops as a TP setup there. So that's what I'm striving for. Just electronically steerable, rotatable, you know, twin delta loops for receive only. And that's it. That's about all I got. Back to you.
Okay, very good. Well, good strong signal as always, Ray, and great to hear what you're up to, and sounds very interesting. Thanks for sharing with us tonight. Now clear with Ray, V3DDU 73, Ray.
73 there, Kevin. We'll talk to you later. V3DDU.
Okay, I've added two stations that I saw in the net logger to the check-in list. I've added K4 KPU, and also November 8 Alpha Papa. I've added you to the list. Give me 1 second. I need to double back to VE3WPK. I missed him in sequence. VE3WPK, are you there, Don? VA3RCA calling.
VA3RCA, that's VE3WPK. You still hearing me, Kevin?
Yeah, at your best, you're 10 dB over 9 here, Don. And the topic tonight is HF antennas. What you got? What you doing? Got any plans? That kind of thing. Yeah, you're coming in great, Don. What do you think?
Well, Kevin, basically, I got the antenna I originally started with 3 years ago. It was a used mid-wave communications C5RV, and it seems to be working quite well for me. And it has, she builds them with 4 chokes on the cabling coming into the house there, and I guess that service is kind of like down to it pretty much a little bit. But no, it's working fine. I raised the one end this year for another 18. That's their tree that's going up, but seems to work well. And the only other antenna I have hooked to my radio is Broadband for 2-meter 440. But I haven't experimented with vertical antennas yet, and that's probably my next step if I ever get around to it. Fit it into a few other things going on. So that's it with me, Kevin, and it seems to do everything I want, the dipole, so hopefully it keeps on working. Back to you.
Okay, very good. What kind of a lot size do you have, Don? How large is your property?
Well, the 102-foot G5 RV goes right to the very front corner of the sidewalk of the street, right to the rear corner, which the total length is about 106 feet, so it just fits in there. So I managed to wedge it down between I'm an end unit of the townhouse, so I'm able to fit it down in there, and it runs northeast to southwest, and it seems to handle it okay. I was always worried about my property and the neighbor's house on each side if it affects it, but I suppose it does to a certain extent. What do you think?
Well, I mean, hopefully, RF interference is an extremely complicated thing. There's a really good book on RF interference from the ARRL that I was reading recently, and every amateur should at least have a look at that book if they've got access to it. And RF interference is extremely complicated in terms of sometimes it's the fault of the gear that receives the signal on its fundamental frequency, and sometimes the fault is a station that's transmitting where it ought not to be. So it's a complicated issue. Hopefully you're not interfering with neighbors. I've had conversations with my neighbors about it. I seem to be okay, but my neighbors are a little further away than yours. When you described your property, it sort of went back to what V3BK was saying earlier, and that is that in some situations the antenna that's best for you is the antenna that fits your property. That's a tight fit, and I'm glad you were able to get that in there, Don.
Well, it doesn't affect our house at all, and I haven't heard any complaints from the neighbors other than he complains about everything, but he hasn't mentioned that yet. So I think all's well. I was just wondering if it affects propagation at all to have basically the two brick buildings on each side that are separated by about 15, 20 feet.
Unless there's a metal roof involved, likely not.
Oh, that's good then. So that's why signals are good. And at the start of the net tonight, there was quite a high noise level around F5, but now it's just about zero here. So I will beg off and let you carry on with the final couple of guys, and then maybe we can all have some to eat. So VA3 RCA to the VE3 WPK, that's the net.
Okay, glad you could join us tonight, Don. Thanks for coming back out, and look forward to talking to you again. Really good signal right at the moment. I think the band is in really good shape. You're coming up over 10 dB over 9, heading towards 20. So, Don, have a great evening. V3WPK from VA3 RCA.
73, Kevin. Back to you.
Okay, and I see in the net logger that VA3 VMD is also lurking, so Vito, I'm going to add you into the list, and just hang on 1 second and I'll be right with you. A couple other people in the net logger, I'm not sure if they're out there. Let's put out a call for
Vito!
K4, KPU,
Wonder if that's the Vito I know.
VA3 RCA.
I know two Vitos.
Okay, K4, KPU from VA3 RCA. I don't have the strongest signal on you. I think I'm talking to Dennis. Maybe you can confirm that is correct. And the net logger shows you as being in Tennessee, Dennis. Maybe some others can listen along just in case I need a relay. Over to you, Dennis. Okay, very good, Dennis. Well, you've joined a net that most of the people on the net here are in southern Ontario, up in Canada. Sort of a bit of a local, kind of a topic-based rag chew network. And our topic tonight is HF antennas. I copied you okay on that last over, Dennis. What are you using for an antenna there tonight? Over to you. Okay, copy an end-fed on a 45-degree slope, and I think you said it was 132 feet long. Did I get that right? Okay, fantastic. Well, are you just 100 watts there, Dennis? Okay, well, fantastic. So I'm about, just so you know, I'm about 50 miles north of the city of Toronto, and you have an S8 signal in here. S8, really not too bad at all, coming all the way from Tennessee. Back to you. Okay, well, I am running a bit of power here, Dennis, so that probably gives me a bit of a help. Hey, if you're a reasonably new, I think you said you were a reasonably new ham. Welcome to the hobby, my friend. Oh, wow, literally yesterday. Okay, fantastic. Congratulations on passing your extra, Dennis. Well, I'm glad you came by and joined us tonight. This net is on this frequency every Sunday night. Sunday afternoon, I guess, at 4 p.m. is when we start. And unless you got anything else for the net, I'll say 7-3 to you, Dennis, and move down the list. But I'm glad you came by tonight. Back to you.
Roger on that. I don't have nothing else for the net. I just appreciate y'all letting me in, and y'all have a wonderful evening, and
fantastic, and a wonderful evening back to you as well, Dennis. 7-3. K4, KPU from the A3RCA. And next on my list, November 8, Alpha Papa from the A3RCA. Is there a November 8, Alpha Papa? If others could listen along for him, I'd appreciate it. Okay, if you're out there, Greg, I apologize. I'm not hearing you. You're on my netlogger list, but I'm not able to pull you out. No one else heard us?
No, Kevin, I didn't hear anything up here in Unionville, VA3 VMD.
Not a peep.
Okay, very good. Nice segue. Let's move to VA3 VMD. You're next on my list. Good evening there, Vito.
Hey, Kevin. Good evening, VA3 VMD up in Unionville, just north of Toronto, and very good. I think I stepped in here a little bit later than usual, Kevin, as usual. But I think you were talking HF antennas, so I'm, as you are well aware, running my 9-foot off the ground 80-meter half wave, and I wanted to make a comment on what you said earlier about whatever works for your environment is the best antenna for you. So that was a point very well made, because you have to, you have to build within the restrictions that you have. So I just wanted to point out that was a great point.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, it was brought up by V3BK Rick, and I was just chiming in to agree with him. I mean, it's a half joking statement, right? I mean, it's where we all have to start at the beginning of our hobby, right? We have to, look at our property and go, okay, what can I do with this, right? But I guess the only thing I would add to that is that you gotta keep your mind flexible and look for every possible opportunity. Maybe if you have a zig here and a zag there, you can fit something you didn't at first think you could do. And maybe, in my case, I started looking at trees differently, right? And I sort of concluded, you know what? I can do better than I thought I could. Like when I first got started here, there's no way I thought I could fit a 160-meter dipole, full dipole. And even an 80-meter dipole, I didn't think I could do it. Well, with the help of trees and new ways of looking at the property, I actually managed to do it. So it's the starting point for every ham is what have I got available to me for space, and eventually, maybe you can make more of it than that.
Yeah, there's all, sometimes the theories are out there to be challenged. I know when I first got into the hobby, as you know, I've only been a ham for about 5 years. I had, speaker wire antennas about 10 feet off the ground, and I think in my first 3 years in the hobby, I think I worked 100 countries with those low off-the-ground NBIS antennas. And so there's something to be said about, playing around with antennas and learning, their capabilities, right? And not only that, you don't need a lot of tools to really make things happen. And I think we get caught up too much in in trying to make the best and the biggest and whatnot. And sometimes the simplest things work out really good. And on that note, I just want to reiterate the great time we had up at the farm with you and your slingshot, your forest grade slingshot, shooting that end fed up at about 60 feet to a slope. It was a great day.
My mic wasn't on. Look at this guy, where his energy is. Great audio.
Kevin. So,
especially if his signal's weak. Look right here in this window. Notice where all the energy is sitting. Very smooth, very balanced. Great audio for weak signal. Nice for armchair too, but this is nice.
Dipole off the ground. Back to you. This is VA3 VMD in Unionville.
Yeah, very good. Actually, I want to touch on something you said there because I think it's very important. And what you were alluding to is that skill, knack, Baluns, those things get into this as well, right? You can do some amazing things in ham radio with some pretty limited tools if you've got some skill, some talent, some knack, and that's, I think, where you were kind of going there. One more quick question. Your 80-meter antenna, what kind of length of wire are we talking about here, Vito?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. 100% correct, Kevin. It's I think learning that stuff, and putting all those tools together is what the hobby's all about. And you learn so much. And again, there's a lot of tools out there and easy, videos and stuff like that. You can always get great ideas on building different antennas and using different products and tools and whatnot to make your job a hell of a lot better. I know in my first 5 years it really made me appreciate what tuning an antenna means and getting the most out of an antenna. We talk about an antenna that's resonant and really performs well. I mean, a tuner can do a lot of good things for you, but a resonant antenna, there's nothing like it. So I don't know what more to add there other than that, Kevin.
No, very well said, and a great signal this evening, Vito, and we'll and yes, we'll do the farm thing again, or some sort of outdoor adventure. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us tonight. I see we're just past the 2-hour mark. I'll see if there's anybody else out there, and then maybe wrap the net. But thanks for joining us tonight, Vito, and I'm on Taurus tomorrow morning and also Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. So if you're bored and you have a minute, drop by and say hi.
Yeah, okay, Kevin. Hey, listen, I got somebody pulling me aside here for sure, but hey, listen, sorry to tie it up for so long. I'm glad I was able to jump in here this afternoon or early evening actually. So as usual, a lot of great topics, a lot of great people out there. I see you got quite the list tonight, almost 18, 19 looking at NetLogger here. So keep up the good work, my friend, and until antennas let us do it again, 73.
Okay, very good, Vito. Great to talk to you tonight, and 7-3. Now clear with VA3 VMD. This is VA3 RCA with the 3640 net. I've reached the end of my list of check-ins. Topic tonight is HF antennas. What do you got? Got any plans for anything new in the way of HF antennas? If you haven't checked in with us and you'd like to do so now, please come with your call. Okay, copy VE3 PCP, and there was one other. Okay, I also have VA3 PWO. Was there anyone else I missed?
Well, let me say good evening, Kevin's been great. And ain't danger high voltage. Gonna go catch the weather report.
Okay, very good. N8, DHV. Great to talk to you. Great to meet you tonight, Dennis.
It's Larry, actually, but that's okay. Sometimes I forget it. I switched over to the 220, running just under a kilowatt, but the band's changing.
Oh, man, sorry about the name. I winged it instead of looking it up, and I should have looked it up. Sorry about that, Larry. Great to meet you tonight.
No, likewise, Dick. Yeah, no, don't feel bad. I forget in seconds. It ain't DHV.
Okay, good night. Hope to talk to you again. N8DHV from VA3 RCA. Did. And V3PCP. Hey, good evening to you.
Yeah, very good evening. And to you and everyone else in the net, Kevin. V3PCP, Rob here in Denver here, and just was listening around. A few minutes to spare, so I thought I'd drop in and say good evening, talk a bit about HF antennas. And excuse me, as you may not remember, I have remote station here at my house that I'm currently talking on. And normally on it I run a 7-band vertical. It's based on a Hustler 5-band trap vertical. And then I have a 17-meter and a 12-meter wire on either side of it. So I run 10, 12, 15, 17, 20, 40, and 80 meters. Everything except 80 meters is the full phone band coverage, and 80 meters covers 3725 to 3775. And I don't have to use the tuner, the built-in tuner on the rig. I just leave it shut off, and I've got the antenna tuned well enough that my 2-to-1 bandwidth, that's actually less than 2-to-1 all across all those bands. So that's pretty good. And right now I'm talking on an 80-meter full-size dipole. It's about 24 feet at the apex and about 8 feet at the end, so it's definitely an NVIS antenna. And then I also have a Mosley Classic 33 tri-band beam on the roof of the house. I had to shorten the boom on it. The original boom was 18 feet long. I had to shorten it down to 14 so that I could turn it between all my trees. And where I live, I've got a significant number of white cedar trees that make it difficult to put much else for antennas up. But it works, and of course my remote, I can use it from anywhere. I have internet connection, so I use it quite a bit when I'm on the road using my cell phone, and connect it through the Bluetooth in the truck, and it works quite well. I work a lot of POTA stations through it. They really don't do much on 80 meters. Most of my activity is on 40 meters and up, so the vertical works extremely well for that. And my Kenwood TS850, I just had it refreshed by Ronnie V3 Ellis in Barrie, and has a couple of boards recapped, and new DC to DC board put in the ALC circuit, and he kind of tuned it up a little bit, puts out about 120 watts now. The finals are actually good for up to 150, but he turned the ALC up to give me about 120 watts out, so it works quite well. And excuse me, I noticed you talked about POTA and getting involved with that. You probably remember I've been involved with that for a little while. Oh, what time my TX timed out there. Anyway, so I'm at right now I'm at 585 parks hunted. I've done activated 10 parks. I've got 2 kilo awards from 2 of those parks. Invergere Provincial Park and Point Clark. I've got over 1,000 contacts from each one of those. And I'm only 3 states short of worked all states for parks on the air, so doing pretty well with that. You talked about the Wolf River coils. My only suggestion with the Wolf River coils, the base-loaded antennas are the least efficient type of antenna, so I think you'll find that if you get yourself a 4 or 5 or 6 foot high mast to put between the feed point and the foil on the Wolf River coil, you'll find that the efficiency will go up quite a bit on it. When you put an inductor right at the feed point, of course that's the high current point on the quarter wave antenna, so they become very inefficient when you do that. So if you can get that coil up higher, then it's going to work much better for you. And I have several different antennas I run for parks in the air. I've got a 80-40 linked dipole that I use if I've got enough room to stretch it out. Otherwise I use Hustler mobile antennas. I've got an enclosed trailer, and I have 3 24 mounts around the roof line. So I run the Hustler antennas on that. And on 20 meters I actually run phased Hustler vertical antennas for 20 meters. And I've got phasing lines made up so that I can either use them as a broadside phase or an end fire. So broadside gives you about 2 dB gain over a single, and gives you a bidirectional pattern, and end fire gives you unidirectional pattern and about 3 dB gain. So they work very, very well on 20 meters. It makes lots of good contacts on 20. And 40 meters, I use the Hustler
It's just a single hustler on the trailer, and it works quite well as well. So anyway, so that's kind of the state of the operation here at Denver here. And back to you, Kevin. VA3RCA, V3PCP.
V3PCP from VA3RCA. Hey, very good. Thank you for sharing, details of all your different antennas and your experiences. Congratulations on your POTA record. It sounds like you're doing very, very well there. I haven't done very much with it, but you know what? It's I'm gonna have some fun next summer, and I consider it a whole lot of fun, Rob. So it's great stuff all the way. Regarding the Wolf River coil, I do have rods made up to go underneath the coil, and I'll give that a try.
I am so hungry, I'm going to fall out of my chair. All I can think of is Chinese food.
It really raises the center of gravity a lot. I kind of require guy wiring, whereas without that extra elevation of the coil, it sits low enough that it doesn't require guiding. But you know what? It may be worth the additional efficiency. So I will look into that. But great to hear from you tonight, and thank you for the description of your antennas there, Rob.
Yeah, no problem. And I forgot to mention, I did listen for you on Signal Hill. I have access to the remote at Signal Hill, so I listened for you on Signal Hill, and you're about an S3 there. But the antenna on Cabot Tower is not terribly efficient on 80 meters. It's meant more for the higher HF band, so it wasn't too surprising. And I did work Fiji on 12 meters earlier this afternoon with my vertical. So anyway, and it works well. I never run an amplifier. I always run barefoot. When you're running a remote, you got to have a pretty specialized amplifier to be able to follow you from band to band. And my old Dentron just won't do that. So I just run barefoot, and it serves me well. I've got.
Yeah, right. Right. I leave the microphone off, Daniel. I just shut it off because I'm like, my stomach is, I'm telling you, it's pretty pissed.
The Orkney Islands, the Isle of Hoy also has access to it, and it works well for everybody. So anyway, very good, Kevin. 7-3. We'll talk to you again soon. VA3RCA, V3PCP.
Yeah, V3PCP from VA3RCA. Well, that's fantastic that you were able to hear me on Signal Hill. I think you said you were able to hear me. Who recently moved from Ontario. I think his call sign was Victor Echo 3, Victor Oscar Charlie. He is now, what was his call? Victor 01, Victor Oscar Charlie. And so he's moved out to Newfoundland. And he actually managed to check in from Newfoundland earlier in the net. He was S7 with 100 watts. I was pretty impressed with that. Yeah, very good. Thanks for joining us tonight, Rob.
Yeah, no problem, Kevin. Yeah, the prefix for Newfoundland is Victor Oscar 1, not Victor 01. So you may have written it down that way, but it's Victor Oscar 1. And yeah, the antenna on Signal Hill is actually a Tart Heel antenna. So it's not really that good for 80 meters. But because Cabot Tower is up on the top of the crest of the cliff above the Atlantic Ocean, the winds are pretty severe up there, and they've really had difficulty trying to get an antenna that will stand up. So the Tar Heel, being a mobile antenna, is able to stand up to the severe winds that get up there. So that's why they run it. But it works extremely well on the higher HF bands. They run a lot of FT8 from there, and they've worked, a couple hundred countries over the last few months on like 17 meters and 20 meters and so forth. So it works quite well. So, and December the 12th, we'll be running a special event from there. That's the 120th anniversary of Marconi's first transatlantic transmission. We'll be running the call sign Victor Delta 1 Mike, VD1M, and so we'll be doing that, running the station remotely, and I'll be live streaming it on my YouTube channel that day as well. Just not sure of the time of it, but they have that call sign for the entire month of December, so it's a special call sign. So if you're on HF bands, look for it on the DX clusters and see if you can work them. Anyway, 7-3 V3 PCP.
Okay, I made a note of that, Rob. December 12th, and the call.
Alrighty. I am going to get out of here, you guys. Looks like we're coming to the end. Not really talking about antennas anymore, so I'm going to duck out of here. Not that that matters. It doesn't matter. They can talk about anything. We can talk about anything we want, right? But I am starving, and I am going to go get some chow. I'm going to put that bag, hang that bag around my neck, and bury my face into a whole lot of something. I have no idea, Glenn, what Paul is doing. No idea. So 7-3, guys. Hope you enjoyed the net. Kind of an interesting net. Boy, a long one. Holy cow. Tired. Have a good night, everybody. Have a great week coming up, and we'll see y'all later. As John would say, sayonara, hasta luego. I'll be back. Oh, yeah. We'll see y'all later. Oh, I think the wife's going to be barging in here soon, so perfect timing. See you guys.